Hi, my name is Myrna from A Quilter's Choice APQS West in Denver, Colorado, or Highlands Ranch. I'm going to show you how to install zippers on your long arm today. What you will need for the process, you need a quilt set of zippers, which consists of 3 different sets: your take-up roller, your backing roller, and your quilt top roller. You need a tape measure to measure the distance and find the center of your leaders. You need an expanded base, and you need a Sharpie, and you need a couple of corsage pins. So now we're going to go over to the long arm and start the process. So I'm here at my APQS Freddy. Whatever machine you have, the process is the same. You want to attach your zipper to your leaders. So on here, I have put my expanded base on. Whichever one that you use is fine, but you have to have something to support the canvas and the zipper and your hands while you're working. So you might see here that I've already marked the center of my leaders. I just took my measuring tape, measured out, found the center. Now, in all honesty, the way I attach zippers, I don't care if every leader is marked. You just need the first one marked. And as I go through this process, you'll understand why. So the next thing I'm going to do is take my zippers, fold them in half. I usually put the zipper part to go to my left. It's just the way I do it. It doesn't matter however you want to do it. So I'm going to take them and fold them in half. Now also I want to add that these zippers, this is a 12-foot table. These zippers are 14 feet. The reason I like to have longer zippers is when you get down to the end and you're trying to stitch this area on, your machine and your hopping foot can kind of get in the way with this, or the metal part of your zipper or plastic, whatever it may be. So I like having the 14 foot. I'm still doing them from the center. They hang over the edge. It's no big deal, but that's why I like this, and you'll see when I get down to that. So I've matched these up end to end. So I'm going to just simply take this, fold it in half, take your Sharpie. Now you can use a finer one or a thicker one, or drop it. I don't care, whichever one you want to use. And I just simply put a line on my zippers. I'm not going to separate these. When I put them on, I put them on as a set. This bottom, if you will, the bottom half of your zipper, this portion will be attached to your quilt backing roller. This portion will be attached to your take-up roller. You're just using one set. So again, we're going to zip it. I'm going to find the center of my leader. Or the center of my zipper. I'm going to bring my zipper up, and I'm going to line these two edges, or these two marks together. So I've lined the marks up on my zipper from my canvas to the zipper line. And I have my base here, and it's just to support it because it's hard to hang on to. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a couple of pens and put in to just hold that up. Now, one of the things you really, really want to make sure you do is keep the edge of your canvas butted up next to your zipper. You don't want it sliding down, because if you do, then your canvas is crooked or your zipper line is crooked, and we don't want that. So keep it butted up to the zipper. It's really not difficult, but and go slow. Take your time. We're not in a hurry with this. So I just go down 2 or 3 pins, and then I move them as I go. And I've put a little bit of a contrasting thread on here, and I just start in the center. So the edge of my hopping foot is going to ride right along the edge of the zipper, and I've just got my standard 1/4 inch hopping foot on. So I'm going to put my needle down, bring my thread up. I'll just pull it through, bring up my bobbin thread. Now I'm using a gray thread. Hopefully you can see it, but you get the gist of it. I would normally use cream. So I'm going to hold my thread, put my needle down. Now I am in stitch regulated, and so I've back tacked. Again, keep your needle down. Pull your thread out of your way. Now from now on, we don't care what's happening down here. I'm focusing on this way. I start in the middle, work down to one end, I'll come back to the middle and work down the other way. So I am in stitch regulator, and I've got my stitches set about I don't know, maybe 9 stitches per inch. So I take my middle finger and my middle finger and first finger and hold these, and I'm kind of pinching and squeezing this together, the canvas and the zipper, and I just start stitching along, taking my time. I'm going to get down here, I have to stop, and I don't care that that line's straight. It might straighten out eventually as I start going down through here, but we're not focused on that. We just want to get going and continue down. Keep them pinched together. And keeping them straight as possible. Keep that edge right along your zipper line. Move the pin out. I don't go ahead and I don't pin this all the way down as I'm going. I'll just put a couple in down there and shift them as I go. So back off again. Right down the edge, and see, once you get going you can move pretty quickly and straight. Again, move down with your pin to hold it, keeping these butted up to each other, and come right down the edge. Having your base expander on there is so important to keep that together. Come down here. Again, push them together. Stop. I keep your needle down. Keep your needle down. Move these out of my way. Take this out. Again. If you are more comfortable when you start doing this, you can come down here and take your clamp support and pinch these, or hold them like so. You can clamp your clamp to your canvas and your zipper. I feel with the longer zippers I don't really need to, because I don't have to worry about that, but you can do that if you like. So I'm going to come back here, finish stitching down. Just relax with this. It feels cumbersome, but it's really pretty simple. And if you mess up, you know, just rip it off. Try it again. But you can see how it just stays along that edge. And down here. Take that out. Keeping this up here. Down to the end, and really pin that corner in right there, because you want to keep it even all the way down. Back up there. Take this out, just put it right here for now, and come down here. Now this is where the extra length on the zippers comes in really handy, because I'm not fussing with this, trying to keep it right on that edge. It's just hanging off. It's not a big deal. So again, oop, getting really crooked. That's all right. Take this one out and right down to the edge. This is not in the way. That makes it so much better. So just hold it close up there. Now if you want to, you can just stitch back along the other way. I'm holding my end of my canvas and pulling right along the edge. Going back to the center, it just double stitches it. Again, I don't care if this is perfect and straight. Doesn't matter. Roll this up. How easy is this? Oop. Stop. Slipped a little bit. I'm just going to go back and I'll cut that little thread later. So now I'm back to my center. Cut that off. I'm going to cut my tail off from the beginning and keep it out of the way. So now I'm going to start back going to the other end, doing the exact same process. Back to the center, and we're going to put in a couple of extra pins to hold it just like we did on the other end, keeping your zipper close to your canvas, and start the process again. I want to get my hand around here and be able to keep the zipper and the canvas pinched together right on that edge. It's easier going one way than the other. There we go. Move this out. Put another one in. There we go. Now going this way, I know I've got this scooched right up against that edge and it's working pretty well. I'm not having to get my hand around here and squeeze it as much, or pinch it together, I should say. Perfect. Going this way, it seems to, if you're not careful, the edge of your base will catch your zipper and kind of stop you, but that's just to tell you need to move it down out of the way. Again, it's nice up there, scooched in. I can actually feel the edge of the zipper under here, so I'm really holding it with my index finger right up close to the zipper line. All these pins are doing really is just holding it into place and up so it's not hanging down. See how that's tucked in there really close? And don't forget the edge of your hopping foot is backed right up against the edge of the zipper. Put that one down there. Oop, jumped over again. You can see it doesn't have to be precise, even though I just jumped over that. I can just cut that thread. Move it out. Yeah, still better pin it. Okay. It's much easier if you remember to keep your needle in the down position. Move my hand around. And back down to the end. Now as we're getting to the end, again, because these zippers are longer, I don't have to worry about the pull really getting in the way and under my hopping foot and causing us to scare the bejeebies out of ourselves. Keeping it nice and smooth, tight. Have to move my machine a little bit because it's only going to go so far. There we go. Now I'm just going to go backwards and tack that down a little bit more because I can only go so far because of the axles on my machine. This is not neat looking. As you can see, we don't care. I've pulled my take-up canvas to the front. My base is still on, so I'm getting my, when you push on this, you have to be careful because it'll lift up. I brought my quilt backing roller and my quilt take-up roller together. Now you can see that my lines weren't exactly lined up, but I don't care. This is the great thing about how I do this. When I put the first set of zippers on, I kept them zipped together, and they're still zipped together. So I know no matter what, when I pull this canvas taut and nice and flat, and this one nice and taut and flat, I know that these zippers are going to line up when I put my quilt top on. I don't have to figure out if I've got them the right distance between end to end on the roller. I know they're lined up. Regardless of what I do, the zippers will match. So I'm going to put a couple of pins in here to get it going. Because remember, we still want to keep it even and the canvas edge tucked right up against the edge of this zipper. So let me put a couple pins in there. A couple of more. Okay. And please don't get freaked out because this stitch isn't straight. Who cares? It's holding the zipper on. All right, so this is even. This canvas is nice and flat and straight against this canvas. So we're just going to go back in the center with the front edge of my hopping foot tucked up against the edge of this zipper. Bring my bobbin thread up, do a little back tack, let go of that thread. I'm going to take this out because it's kind of in the way. Holding these, I'm pinching these with my fingers. See how I'm pinching that? Right down the line. Move that. Just keep working down the same way we did on the first half. If it's a little bit tight, you can just back it off a little bit. Not so much that the canvas is drooping. There we go. Right along the edge. Stop, move your pin. Continue down. Move down. As with anything when you're quilting, whether it be freehand quilting, pantograph quilting, or putting your zippers on, the main thing is to stop and relax and just let it flow. Put that one in. Oh, lost my thread. working our way down to the end. At the end again, and you can see that your canvases aren't exactly even on each end. That's why I like putting these zippers together and stitch them on when they are zipped together. That way you know the zipper is perfectly straight. Back to the center, and we're going to do the same thing we did before. Get our pins in here to hold it into position. That's all we're doing. See if I can do this without pinning it. Don't stitch your fingers. It just gets messy. So whichever way works for you. I think in the beginning when you're just starting and getting them going, pinning is the better option when you've never done this before. Keep your needle in the down position. Getting down to the end, that longer zipper is keeping the head or the pulls of the zipper out of your way. And I'm going to release this a little bit because I'm as far as I can go on my axle, with my axle in the way. Work my way back to the center. And you don't have to do that. I just like to double stitch it. I'm not pressing on my base, I'm just holding it into position. Holding the canvas into position. So we're back to the center where we stitched on the first set of zippers. We have half attached to the quilt backing roller, and we have the other half attached to the quilt take-up roller. So now we take another zipper set and we unzip it just like this, which is really quite fun. Then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to take the two zippers, or the one zipper with the two canvases that I have zipped together, and we're just going to unzip them just like this. We're going to take the opposite zipper from the other set that I just showed you, and we're going to go down to the end of this zipper off of my take-up roller and put a new half of the zipper on. Because remember, the first half is still attached to the quilt backing roller. So I'm just going to zip this on. We don't have to worry about marking centers because we put our first set of zippers on in the center. It's done. Easy peasy. We're going to zip this on just like this. Now what we want to do is take the quilt top leader and we're going to attach it to the quilt backing take-up roller. Again, we don't need to mark the center because it's centered. We did that in the very beginning. So all we're going to do is release our canvas a little bit. We're going to take our quilt top roller. We're going to release it a little bit. Remember, you don't want this sloppy. So we'll move back to the center. So that was the really cool part about the way I attach zippers. You don't have to worry about lining things up because once you put that very first one on your backing roller, it's lined up. Just keep them zipped together, stitch one on, and then zip the other one. So now I'm attaching the quilt top roller zipper to the pickup roller zipper. I know that may sound crazy, but just keep going. So I've got the edge of the canvas butted up against the zipper teeth. I'll put my needle down, do a little back tack, and again, let's start pinning on just to hold it a little bit. If you haven't done this a lot, which I'm assuming you haven't, or you wouldn't be watching this, it's easier to have some something there holding it. All right, here we go. Again, just follow it down just like we did on the first half. It's the very same thing. We're just stitching it on. Move my pin. Move down. If it feels a little bit too tight, you can back it off a little bit so you have a little wiggle room. Back that there. And then I'm just going to continue down the length of the zipper just like I did before, and then we'll go back to the center. Back to the center, I've put a couple of pins in, and now I'm just going to start down the edge the other direction just like I did before. You've done half, so you should be pretty comfortable with this now. And just take your time if you're not. See if I can do this without the pins. I do like having the pins in it, so I'm not even going to go there. Just reaching underneath. Shut your machine off. When I get down to the edge, I'm going to stitch back to the center again because I like to. You don't have to. I really do recommend keeping your pin in because it helps keep that edge. Now I'm going to release this a little bit because I'm getting close to the bottom or to the end of the machine. And my canvas is, or my axle is going to run into it. And again, you can see that the edge of my canvases don't line up for a couple of reasons. When they put them on the rollers, they put them on pretty evenly, you know, very accurately, not to the point, but as you've been quilting, these canvases are not new. So as you quilt, your canvases will have a tendency to pull into the middle, and then you'll end up with a little bit of unevenness on the edges. So that's why they may not line up totally. But now that we've done this process and the way we've done this process, you know that your zippers are on there perfectly even with your canvas and with each other. I'm going to put my clamp on here just a little bit to hold this a little bit better. Oop. Tighten it back up. There we go. Perfect. Now it's really easy to stitch right back down to my center line. Done. My zippers are installed. Quick, easy, and we know they're lined up. And move the machine out of the way. So now I'm going to unzip this. Once in a while I will come in and zip my leaders together at night just to kind of get them re-stretched out to the size that they are. Not necessarily the size, but again, they get drawn in when you're quilting. So I'll zip them together once in a while. So now all I do is unzip my zippers. See the tail that ends up hanging? It's fine. It actually makes it easier to deal with. So now I'm going to take my other zippers and zip the other half on. So I've got my quilt backing roller, other half of the zipper. Another half. It's not the other half of the exact zipper. My zippers are the same. Oh, but remember, I stitched it onto the other end of the pickup roller. Unzip these. Then I'm going to go to my quilt top roller, zip it on. My quilt backing zipper, or pickup zipper, zip it on. And we have 3 sets of zippers. Take up, quilt top, quilt backing. Zipped on or stitched on and ready to go. Now, this is when you get a quilt set of zippers, you get a machine set, you get 3 sets, just like I'm showing you here, 3 sets for 3 rollers. Then if you want to get an extra quilt set of zippers, which consist of just this part to zip onto the zippers that you have attached to your machine. So while you're quilting one quilt, especially if you have quilt path, you can be standing over there and pinning on another quilt to another set of zippers, and then when it's finished, just zip it off and then zip your new one on. Or if you need to take it off for some reason, or if you just don't particularly like standing here and pinning your quilt backing to your zipper, or your quilt top to your zipper, which I actually like doing, but you can go sit down and watch TV and pin 2 or 3 quilts on that you're going to do that week and hang them up and then get them out and zip them on and be ready to go. So it's super easy, and attaching your zippers is super easy as well, as you can see. Thanks for joining.